got a Crunchyroll subscription. God help me. I have watched a lot of anime in the very short time that I have had said subscription, all of varying quality. One of these was School Days, and despite the general consensus of most weeaboos, I think it's one of the good ones. Maybe good is a strong word. It was a lot better than I expected it to be, shall we say. School Days is an anime adaptation of a high school harem eroge visual novel of the same name. It is a very divisive property. It makes a lot of those top whatever worst anime of all time lists that you may see online, and the reason I even was introduced to it in the first place was because there was a Trash Taste episode in which they debated whether or not the series was good or bad. They did end up spoiling the end of the series for me, but hearing about the ending is what intrigued me to watch it in the first place. And now I'm gonna spoil it for you. You're welcome. School Days stars Makoto Ito, a high schooler who has a crush on a girl named Kotonoha Katsura. By the way, I may use a character's first or last name to refer to them. It honestly just depends on which one I enjoy saying more. Makoto also makes a new friend at high school, Sekai Sayonji, who definitely isn't in love with him or anything. How dare you accuse her of such a thing? Sekai finds out about Makoto's crush on Katsura, and being the ultra-platonic friend that she is, decides to get them together. And she manages to do it. Some people have skills that are completely beyond me, and matchmaking is one of them. Because she doesn't just, pass Katsura a note that's like, hey, do you like my friend that I'm definitely not in love with? Check yes or no. She, orchestrates their meeting, she has them all have lunch together in private on the rooftop, because where else? She facilitates all of their discussions, she coaches Makoto through his various blunders, and she kisses him at a train station. Sorry, what was that last one? Don't worry about it. Makoto asks out Katsura, and she says yes. It's the beginning of the end! Now, from the jump, the main conflict in their relationship is that Makoto wants to move a lot faster than Katsura does. She's very much this ingenue, so she's pretty hesitant to hold his hand, let alone kiss him, let alone take him to Pound Town. Meanwhile, she's got these big ol' breastises, and all Makoto wants to do is take him for a motorboat ride. So he's waxing poetic to Sekai about how roses are red and his balls are blue. And she's like, well, you could practice on me. Now, I can't emphasize this enough. People around Makoto and Sekai are constantly thinking that they are together. All of their friends, at all times, are constantly going, hey, you two are hanging out all the time. Are you going out? Makoto's pretty popular with the girls. You're a girls. You two are always eating lunch together. Are you sure he's not eating something else? Just kidding, as if this guy would ever perform oral sex. And the whole time Sekai's like, no, who has time for that? Meanwhile, she's playing 5D chess. Because what do you do when the guy you like somebody else? Do you give up and let him be happy? Do you confess and try to advocate why you'd be a better match? Well, if you're Sekai, you get the two of them together, and then when the girl won't put out, you offer yourself up as tribute, and then when the guy wants to practice even more, you leave him wanting more. It's fucking Machiavellian. She should be studied. At one point, everybody we've met in the cast goes to a water park together, and the boys have nipples. It's not something you see very often in anime. Makoto's only male friend Taisuke is a total pervert and is getting an eyeful of everyone's bazongas, particularly Katsura's, and I have to mention it here because unfortunately it will come up later. I will say though, I appreciate that he wears a Speedo to a water park where all of his classmates are in attendance. It's a bold move. They even zoom in on his bulge a few times, which I didn't necessarily want to see, but I appreciate that they gave me the option. Katsura tells everybody that she and Makoto are dating, which surprises them because they all thought that Makoto and Sekai were dating. And apparently so does Makoto, because he makes it clear to Sekai that he wants to be with her now, and she's like, Baka, we were just practicing. God, what a manipulative bitch. Affectionate. Meanwhile, there are multiple shots of her forlornly watching Katsura and Makoto being all coupley, and you can practically hear You Belong With Me playing in the background. But he eventually manages to wear her down, they meet up at a train station and make out. She at least tries to make him feel a little bad about it, and she's like, why did you even get with Katsura in the first place if you were gonna cheat on her with me anyway? Because of her massive badonkadonk, Sekai. Are you blind? Are you deaf? You can hear them coming from a mile away. He doesn't want to be with her anymore because she has negative Riz. You, on the other hand, have all the Riz in the world. Level 100 Riz is worth like F cups. They go home and have sex, and Makoto's like, when we were practicing before, We were practicing for today. Wow, what a dream guy. Top 10 anime husbandos. The next morning, Makoto's really tired, and he approaches Sekai, who is hanging out with her best friend Setsuna right there. And he's like, man, I'm so tired. It's been a while since I had to make breakfast for two. Makoto, you can't be a cheater and stupid. These are not traits that mesh well together. And Setsuna's like, ugh, I always thought you two were together, so this means you broke up with Katsuda, right? Oh, Setsuna. You sweet summer child. How naive of you to assume that Makoto would ever break up with Katsuda. So Sekai tells Makoto that they should probably tell Katsuda about them, and Makoto's like, what? No, she's gonna be mad. Poor little bitch-ass, little pussy-ass coward, little shit. Makoto and Sekai go home together, and Katsuda's train passes through their station, and she sees them kissing. But of course, the train's moving really quickly, so she can't even be sure of what she saw. The next day at school, everybody's preparing for the school festival, and this mean girl Otome, which is a very funny name for a character in a dating sim property, Otome reveals that she wants to ask out Makoto, and Katsuda's like, hey, I'm his girlfriend. F off, lady. Little does Katsuda know this will mobilize Otome and her entire friend group against her. Katsuda texts Makoto that she won't be joining him for lunch, which makes him turn to Sekai and go, it's free real estate. So they're cheating on the rooftop during lunch, and Katsuda makes a last-minute decision. Actually, she will join them. So she goes up, and there's the door to the rooftop, which has a window cut out into it. And she not only sees them conducting their affair, she hears them say that they love each other. The fatality. So Katsuda skips school for a few days, understandably, and some of the other kids are kind of concerned because she's gonna be planning her class's part in the festival pretty much by herself. So they all turn to Makoto and they're like, you should help her because you've got nothing to do. You've got no extracurriculars other than sticking your dick where it doesn't belong. He's hesitant to do so, and Setsuna drops the bomb. Oh, do you not want to see her because you two broke up? Spill those beans, Setsuna. Spill them all over the floor. Make them trip on him. He even gets a text from Katsuda, and Setsuna takes his phone and blocks her number for him. Setsuna, I understand he's your best friend's boyfriend. You're trying to prevent his clingy ex from ruining their relationship, but your class president, you don't have time for this. This is too much. Makoto and two other girls overhear Taisuke asking out Katsuda, because his logic is that she and Makoto are broken up now, so she's up for grabs. And Katsuda's mad confused. She's like, we didn't break up. What are you talking about? So she runs out and into Makoto, and she tries to talk to him, and one of these girls calls her a bitch for trying to, talk to two guys, one right after another. Yeah, how dare she get asked out by a guy and not say yes, and then try to talk to a dude that she's dated. Filthy whore. Later, after school, Katsuda shows up at Makoto's house, and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry about earlier. My phone is done acting up, he unblocked her, so you can text and call me now. And Katsuda wants to come in, but Makoto fakes a migraine because Sekai is in his bedroom. But Katsuda doesn't even need to go inside to see that Sekai's there because she sees her shoes on his doorstep. See, this is why white people are actually correct to wear their shoes indoors, because how else would you cheat on your girlfriend? In spite of this clear evidence, Katsuda asks Makoto to dance with her at the school festival. There's this superstition that whoever dances at the school festival won't break up for an entire year, which is basically a lifetime in a high school relationship. He tells her that he'll think about it. Meanwhile, Sekai is crying in his bedroom, clutching a pillow to her chest. Babies, he's not worth it. He's not worth your tears. Katsuda leaves, and Sekai leaves very soon after her because she's pissed off. And wouldn't you know it, Sekai runs into Katsuda because she left only 30 seconds after her, and Katsuda bitch slaps Sekai across the face. Fair enough. I don't normally advocate fighting over a man, but this is some Diana and Camilla shit. That being said, if you're gonna slap the mistress, then you also need to break up with the guy. Guess what Katsuda doesn't do? Sekai confesses to Setsuna that she's actually been the other woman this entire time. Makoto and Katsuda aren't even broken up. So Setsuna decides to take matters into her own hands. Well, they were already kind of in her hands. The matters had made a very comfortable home in those tiny, tiny hands. She continues to cockblock Katsuda, but she says to Makoto, you're dating Katsuda and Sekai. Which one do you actually want? And he doesn't answer, but I can tell you right now, he wants neither. He doesn't want to be with either of them, but he would love to be inside of both of them. So Makoto and Sekai talk, and Sekai's like, you know, we're not exactly in the right here. Do you think maybe we should stop? And Makoto goes, No, in fact, I think we should have sex. In fact, I think we should be in the middle of having sex right now. In fact, I think we should both be naked under the top sheet smoking a cigarette. Katsuda joins him on the train the next day and promises to let him touch her boobs if he'll dance at the school festival with her. And he agrees because she made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Speaking of the school festival, for the event, the Mean Girls decide to make a break room, which is basically just a supply closet with a mattress on the floor, for exactly the purpose that you're thinking of. And they appoint Katsuda to be in charge of it. They really pinned her down as the ultimate cuck. They claim that this is a tradition, but I would equate this to, like, sticking your gum to the underside of a desk and calling that a tradition. Setsuna reveals to Makoto that the reason she's been so involved in his and Sekai's business is because she doesn't have much time left. When I first heard that, I was like, oh shit, is she dying? But no, she's just moving abroad. She wanted to make sure that Sekai would be taken care of before she left, and she's glad that Makoto is stepping up to the plate. Setsuna, this man has never stepped up to the plate ever. He has an incredible batting average, he manages a home run every time, but he somehow does all of that without ever actually stepping up to the plate. We flash back to the day that Makoto and Setsuna met years ago, and he comforted her after she was bullied by a group of guys. So I'm watching this flashback, and I'm like, please don't tell me that Setsuna also has feelings for Makoto. But she doesn't need to tell me that, because in the next scene, she kisses him while he's unconscious. And Katsuda sees her do this. God damn it, Setsuna, you were my favorite. Your competition was non-existent, and you were not the most likable so much as you were the least unlikable, but god damn it, how the mighty have fallen. This next sentence is very hard for me to say. Taisuke asks Katsuda to dance with him at the school festival, and she's like, no, I'm dating Makoto. And he's like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure he's dating Sekai. So Katsuda texts Makoto while he is in the middle of groping Sekai at school. They're making cakes for the festival, but there's only one cake he's interested in. Sekai gets fed up with him and knees him in the groin. Well done. And kicks him out of the kitchen, only for him to run into Otome, who asks him to dance at the school festival. He's not able to reply before Sekai interrupts them, but don't worry. She manages to track him down and then takes him to the break room. She fucks him while Katsuda is right outside being interrogated by her friends about her relationship with Makoto. The ultimate cuckold strikes again. And oh boy, things get even worse. Makoto dances with Sekai at the festival as Taisuke assaults Katsuda. Yay! Taisuke is so happy at school the next day that it genuinely makes me sick. He tries to ask out Katsuda on a date, and she's like, I need you to forget about what happened yesterday because I can't date you. I'm dating Makoto. Even if she didn't believe what she was saying, which she 1000% does, say anything to get this man away from her. Taisuke finally confronts Makoto, and he's like, you must be cheating on Katsuda with Sekai. Because why else would Katsuda still say that the two of you are together? And Makoto's like, dude, there's nothing going on between me and Katsuda anymore. Well, Makoto, there's someone you forgot to give that little update to. At long last, Makoto breaks up with Katsuda in front of a literal garbage heap outside, with Setsuna standing right there observing for some reason, and Katsuda holding on to her last shred of hope is like, is Sekai the one putting you up to this? Setsuna, Sekai doesn't even know about your feelings for Makoto. But before Katsuda can even finish that sentence, Setsuna grabs Makoto and kisses him right in front of her. Just like full-on tongues him, and then turns to her and goes, and? TKO. Fatality. You fucking died. I would be on life support. I would be comatose. Props to Katsuda for even living through that humiliation. I say that when she literally got assaulted the day before. Okay. Later on, Makoto fucks Otome again. He fondly remembers breaking up with Katsuda, dancing with Sekai, and kissing Setsuna, all while post-coitus with Otome, and he's like, damn, I'm juggling a lot of bitches here. And he's gonna keep juggling them because Setsuna comes over to his apartment later that night, and guess what they do? She says he can do whatever he wants to her as long as he promises to break up with Sekai. You know, those are big words coming from a girl who's leaving for France tonight. At school the next day, some of the girls reveal that they put a camera in the break room and they project everyone's escapades for all of the other girls at school to see. Oh good! Another sex crime. This means that Sekai sees footage of Otome and Makoto laying on top of each other. And she's like, how dare that cheater cheat on me? You lose him how you get him, Sekai. I don't know what to tell you. Sekai's trying to track down Makoto and she runs into Katsuda, who... the light has literally left her eyes. Things are getting spooky. This other bitch with pigtails sleeps with Makoto. I think her name's Hikari. She literally says, I came over to talk to you about Sekai, and even I ended up fucking you. Is his dick made of magic? Is that what I've been watching this whole time? A magical dick anime? She goes over to check on Sekai, who stayed home from school with cuckold sickness, and she's like, hey, maybe you should come back to school. If you don't, Makoto might cheat on you. That is unhinged, but also this man will cheat on anyone, with anyone, at any time, anywhere. Meanwhile, Otome is pissed because she hasn't seen Makoto in a while, and her friends are like, damn, he's got all of these girls wrapped around his finger. Is there room on that finger for 3 more? Come on, everyone. Let's see how good Makoto is. They have a foursome with him. Makoto, you pass around pogo stick. Meanwhile, Katsuda is incessantly calling Makoto even though he's blocked her, and she's having full-on conversations with him even though the only voice replying to her is telling her that the call can't be connected. Sekai throws up in her bathroom at home, and the next day at school she tells Makoto that she is pregnant. Prangent has formed, she is pregnant. You two have been raw-dogging it this whole time. Of course you have. Of course you have. You two share a brain cell. And at this point, several diseases. And also a baby. Later that night, Makoto is wandering around trying to call every girl that he knows, and no one's picking up. I honestly thought this was a pretty poignant moment. I mean, it shows how addicted he's become, not only to sex, but to female attention, and basically the company of a bunch of people that he has no respect or even distinction for. Earlier in the episode, Otome called him, asking if she could come over and talk, and he was like, yeah, I'm free, I'm so free, I was worried. At this point, he thinks any free time spent not conquering girls is time wasted, because ultimately he doesn't know how to be alone, and that's sad. But who should arrive to save him from his loneliness? Dead-eyed Katsuda. She starts going on about how she wants to be a perfect little trad wife for him. Even he can see in this moment how cracked in the head she is, and he starts crying and begging to know why she could even love someone like him. He apologizes. For the first time in his life. I didn't know the word sorry was in his vocabulary. He hugs her and he says, I, and then trails off. I think we're meant to assume that he tells her he loves her, and the light returns to Katsuda's eyes. There is truly no better strat than placing your will to live on the shoulders of a serial adulterer. Case in point, he's out to dinner with Katsuda, but Sekai keeps calling him because she made an entire Christmas dinner for him at his place. Where in God's name are anyone's parents? Do they exist? Is this strawberry shortcake? I will admit, the lack of adults contributes to this insular, almost claustrophobic feeling that the anime has. Like, the weight of the world is all on these kids' backs, and they're constantly fucking up their lives and have no one to turn to for advice or help. Anyway, Makoto yells at Sekai over the phone, why did you have to get pregnant? Because you two were playing soccer without a goalie, Makoto. Where have you been? Sekai throws the entire Christmas dinner on the floor and leaves the apartment, but at the train station she sees Makoto and Katsuda embracing. Hurts, don't it, Sekai? Your girl boss too close to the sun. Makoto and Katsuda go back to his place only for Sekai to show up and bitch slap Katsuda this time. She goes off like, you're throwing me away because I'm pregnant, and Katsuda, you fucking stalker, get away from him, stop hanging around him. Katsuda hits her with an Uno reverse card and is like, aren't you the one who stole him from me originally? Remember, I was dating him and then you seduced him? Oh, by the way, your best friend Setsuna? Also into him. Also kissed him. Also bounced on him like a trampoline. She makes out with Makoto right in front of Sekai, and for some reason, they really zoom in on the tongue action in this moment, and for that reason, my horror is probably equal to Sekai's. The next day, Sekai receives a text from Makoto urging her to get an abortion, which is really rough because she was looking forward to having this baby. The hits keep coming and they don't stop coming. They meet up later at his place to talk, and the vibe? Off. Not particularly chill. One could say that you could cut the tension with a knife. Sekai goes into the kitchen to make them some tea, and she sees the dinner that she threw on the floor in a garbage bag. Makoto receives a text as the kettle is boiling. He checks his phone. It's from Sekai. It says, sorry. Goodbye. And out of nowhere, Sekai appears behind him and stabs him multiple times until he collapses onto the floor dead. Oh, this scene goes so fucking hard, the animation. It's a work of art! Rest in stupid, Makoto Ito. If it's any consolation, in just a few short weeks, you got enough pussy to last a lifetime. Sekai flees the apartment, but once she's home, she receives a text from Makoto telling her to meet him on the school rooftop. She obviously goes because it's not every day that the ghost of your baby daddy texts you. But once Sekai gets to the rooftop, it turns out that Katsuda is the one who summoned her here. The light in her eyes is gone once again, but she brought a little bag with her. She tells Sekai, I don't think you're pregnant. I don't think you could carry Makoto's baby to term. You're not meant for that. I am. Also, Makoto's here. Open the bag. Sekai does open the bag. We don't see what's inside, but it causes Sekai to throw up on the ground. She stands up, and Katsuda pulls out a giant fucking knife. Sekai, in turn, pulls out a pocket knife to defend herself. But Katsuda very quickly gains the upper hand, stabs her right in the stomach, and a fountain of blood spouts out. Katsuda looks directly into her wound and goes, just as I thought. There's no baby inside you. I mean, she was pregnant for like a week. The thing would have been the size of a sunflower seed. We fade away to Katsuda hanging out on her family's yacht. Hey, that's a nice boat! She's lying down, cuddling Makoto's decapitated head to her chest, the light having returned to her eyes once more. Oh, ich habe deinen Mund geküsst. That was a reference to Salome, an opera in which a woman dances naked in front of her uncle and then makes out with the severed head of the guy she's obsessed with. So many common threads in the things that I enjoy. So, did you like it? What do you mean, no? You know, some of you don't have mirth in your heart. Some of you don't know the taste of delight. Some of you don't like to watch a car crash in slow motion. Okay, fine, it's not that great, but like, when you go into something expecting the worst thing ever and it's not quite that, you end up pleasantly surprised. In terms of how it stacks up against other harem anime, well, I don't really watch traditional harem anime. I'm more of a reverse or gay harem gal. It's better than Brothers Conflict. It's a low bar, but we've cleared it. It's better than Gakko in Heaven, I guess. It is not better than Ouran High School Host Club. But that's because nothing is. In truth, School Days doesn't get good until Makoto starts cheating on Katsuda, and so if I'd gone in blind, I probably would have given up 2 episodes in. But also if I'd gone in blind and stuck with it, that ending would have had me fucking gagged. So I don't know. If you've seen it, let me know what you think, and also recommend me some other terrible anime to watch. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you sticking around. Bye-bye!